Today, we are diving into what might be the most personal story ever told, the story of you. Seriously, how did you become you? It's a journey we all take, from day one to our final moments, and you know what? It's a lot less random than you might think. So, let's just start with that big question. Take a second and really think about it. How did you get here, to be the person you are right now? It feels like a massive question, doesn't it? Well, it's one of the most fundamental questions in all of psychology. And while life can feel pretty chaotic, this whole journey of becoming you isn't just a series of random events. Nope, it actually follows a path with really predictable stages and challenges. And the cool thing is, a few brilliant thinkers have already drawn us a map to help make sense of it all. Okay, so let's meet our two main guides for this trip. On one hand, we've got Erikson. He drew the map for our social and emotional world, how we connect with other people. And on the other hand, there's Piaget, who mapped out our inner world, how our thinking actually changes and grows over time. Two totally different maps, but they're for the exact same incredible journey. First things first, we've got to talk about the foundation. We're talking about the first 6 years of life. Literally everything that happens here and our relationships and our little developing minds becomes the essential building blocks for the rest of our lives. No pressure, right? So this super critical time can be broken down into 3 main stages. We've got infancy, which is from birth to about 1 year. Then comes toddlerhood, from 1 to 3. And finally, the preschool years, which take us from 3 to 6. In that very first year, as a baby, you're basically working 2 massive jobs at once. Socially, Erikson says you're figuring out one simple but profound question. Can I trust this world? That's his trust versus mistrust stage. And at the exact same time, Piaget tells us we're in the sensorimotor stage, which means we're trying to figure out what anything is by, touching it, tasting it, and staring at it. And all that sensory exploration leads to this huge light bulb moment that Piaget called object permanence. It's that magical instant when a baby finally gets that just because mom's face is behind her hands, she hasn't actually vanished from the universe. This isn't just about peekaboo. It's the beginning of memory, of thought, of knowing your loved ones will come back. It's a total game changer. Then, as toddlers, we enter that legendary phase of fierce independence. Erikson calls this autonomy versus shame. The big question driving us is, can I do things myself? And while that's happening, cognitively, Piaget says our brains are unlocking a brand new superpower: language. We start using words and symbols to understand everything. And this new superpower, Piaget had a name for it: symbolic thinking. This is what lets a kid pick up a banana and pretend it's a telephone, or grab a stick and suddenly it's a sword in an epic battle. The world isn't just what's right in front of them anymore. It's whatever they can possibly imagine. Now, that drive for I can do it myself just keeps on growing. By our preschool years, Erikson says we're facing a new challenge: initiative versus guilt. This is when we're not just doing things on our own, we're starting to make our own plans, invent our own games, and trying to get others to play along. All right, so the foundation is set, but now our world just explodes in size. All of a sudden, there's school, there are friends, there are cliques, and we have to figure out where on earth we fit into all of it. This brings on a whole new set of challenges. So from about 6 to 12 years old, Erikson says we're deep in the stage of industry versus inferiority. The big question is basically, am I good at stuff or am I worthless? Can I actually master the skills that matter to my friends and teachers? Meanwhile, Piaget's map shows our thinking is getting way more logical and organized as we enter what he called the concrete operational stage. And this really highlights a massive shift in how we think. We're moving from just being able to think logically about things we can see and touch, that's concrete thinking, to this incredible new ability for abstract thought. We're no longer just asking, what is? Now, for the first time, we can truly ask, what if? And that new power to ask what if leads us straight into the whirlwind of the teenage years. This is a time of major self-exploration. Erikson summed up the central challenge of this whole stage with one perfect question: who am I, and what is my place in the world? This, of course, is the famous crisis of identity versus role confusion. So right when we start asking, who am I, our brains unlock the final cognitive tool we need to even begin to answer it. We enter Piaget's 4th and final stage, the formal operational stage. This is when true abstract reasoning kicks in, and it allows us to think about huge concepts like justice, freedom, and morality. But hold on, our journey is far from over when we turn 18.
Well, Piaget's cognitive map is pretty much filled in. We've got all our thinking tools. Erikson's map shows that our social and emotional story is just getting started on its longest and honestly most complicated chapter, adulthood. So Erikson mapped out 3 more giant challenges for us as adults, and each one really defines a major chapter of our lives. First up, forming deep bonds with people. Then it's about contributing to the future. And finally, it's all about reflecting on the life that we've lived. So first, from roughly 18 to 40, we face the challenge of intimacy versus isolation. The core question here is, can I build truly deep, meaningful relationships, or am I going to end up alone? It's that tough but beautiful challenge of finding a real connection without completely losing who you are in the process. Next, from about 40 to 65, our focus starts to shift outward. Erikson called this generativity versus stagnation. We start asking ourselves, am I actually contributing something to the world? And this isn't just about having kids. It's about mentoring, creating, or leaving some kind of positive mark on the next generation. And finally, from 65 on, we enter a time of deep reflection. We look back over the whole story, and we face the ultimate question: have I lived a meaningful life? This is Erikson's final crisis, integrity versus despair, where we either find a sense of peace and fulfillment or a sense of regret. So there we have it, 2 incredibly powerful maps, one for our thinking, one for our relationships. They're like 2 different lenses looking at the very same human journey. But the real question is, okay, why do these maps actually matter to us today? Well, because these theories are so much more than just stuff in a textbook, they give us a practical toolkit for life. They explain why hands-on learning is absolutely critical for young kids. They show us how to help school-aged kids feel competent and confident. And they remind us why it's so important to just let teens explore and figure out who they are. They help us be better parents, better teachers, and maybe even a little kinder to ourselves. So as we wrap up, take one last look at these maps. Think about your own story, your own challenges, and your own growth. And just ask yourself, which part of this journey are you on right now?